We are going to see the development of an apiary, the harvest of hives, the harvest of about 15 colonies that we have in that apiary, which is at a height of more or less than 2,400 above sea level, is one of the apiaries, so to speak, that single apiary it has very high yields. Let's see, the cooperative at this time. How is the cooperative and the beekeeping world? Has had some significant advances. Coapial was created on May 5, 2002 by the need that the same people and the same beekeepers of that time had. The cooperative at this time already has 40 associates. Coapial is currently close to 2,000 hives among all the associates. Therefore, we put in the market more or less between 8 to 10 tons of honey. Well, here we are going to extract some honey. So that people realize how it works in an open field. We are not harvesting yet. But it is there. There is some honey, here in these pictures here. This is the state in which the honey should be harvested. If you observe, this is the operculum or the wax cap that the bees put on it when the bees do this here. Honey already has a humidity below 20%. These alveoles are different than you can see. Well, on this side it has a little bee bread. This sector here, and all the honey that still has above 25%, 26%, 28% humidity, that honey is not harvested. Why? Because it contains a lot of moisture, it contains a lot of water, and then that honey, if it crystallizes, which is normal, must make the original bee honey, then that honey tends to be fermented by that. For this reason, only 100% percolated honey should be harvested. The honey is, when they have the percolate, 90% to 95%, hopefully 100%, they are honeys from excellent quality. They are honeys. Imagine this climate here. Right now we are one height about 2450 to 2500 above sea level, here. This apiary is one of the associates of the cooperative of beekeepers. They are hives with 3 brood chambers because here, when the nectar season is very well, the bees collect too much nectar. Here it is very nectar producing. So for that reason you have to be very careful that the bees are not going to get blocked by pollen, or that they are going to be blocked from, exactly. Because the queen does not have space to place her eggs, so from that point of view, every 10 days I will be looking at the part of the hives, making regular reviews, taking out the largest number of offspring, harvesting opercula for other hives. For what reason? Because if we do that, so we balance the hives evenly so that the harvest, when it comes in the main harvest, is equitable for all and give the same conditions to all. And right now here, more than anything basically, we are leveling colonies to wait because we come from a very strong winter. Here in this place it rains too much, and here it rains with wind. So he puts one on it. A tile, say, bigger. This tile goes more than anything because when it rains, when it's windy the zinc tile flies. On the other hand this one can't fly. We also have it this has this is the sub cover and this is the box cover. They have proposed I put the whole box there to cover up the tiers. There are also grids for propolis. All this a propolis. All this what the hive has here, all this is propolis. But not we have started there. There are the grids to start collecting propolis. Yes, not that the day I came I honestly didn't bring gloves or anything and they hit me really hard. Here these paintings were put into the bee so that it could work on them. They have already started there to work it. It is already beginning to put the nectar. Then they have pure panel of bee and nectar, around there. If time continues like this, around there it's about 15 to 20 days. All this is already percolated to extract the honey from the hive. This is the grid for the queen. That is the excluder grid. Already here in these two chambers, the two brood chambers. More than anything is exclusive to the queen. For her to start to put. These are the pure breeding pictures. Here the aggressiveness of the bees has decreased, the Africanization practically here has already diminished and we already have a lot of race between Carniola, Africanized or some Italian, but not pure. We have made crosses and then the aggressiveness has decreased. See if they realize there is not a bee, that my colleagues are there working, manipulating the colonies and they are animals that totally no longer, well, they do attack, obviously, they defend themselves like any animal, if it is disturbed, but they do not have the aggressiveness that they had in previous years. The other bees, the Apis mellifera scutellata that was the Africanized when arrived and relatively here I am in the middle of the apiary, which are all, so to speak, are towers. The aggressiveness of the colonies depends on the origin of the males. So when we are going to have productions of queens, we must take into account the parent queens. What are the queen's father? The queens that are going to produce drones for me so that fertilize the queens that I have already selected. I get nothing out of having the best queens, with having the best, but let's see, who is going to impregnate me. Besides that in the environment, there are a number of drones that I cannot control. The job of a drone is to ripen honey, it helps to raise or lower the temperature inside the colony, is to fertilize a queen. How do we improve the environment for drones, for queens? Is to take out frames and take it and distribute it in most of the hives that around, 60 days before queens work, to what end? In order that when we remove the queens, which have already been improved, we give them the opportunity to those drones that fly and impregnate our queen and preferably around make apiaries. Tell the partner, hey, take me this picture of drone and put it in there. Those drones are selected, they come from one part, they come from selection of sons of some queens that are of very good quality due to conditions of hygiene, health conditions, harvest conditions or the amount of nectar they collect. It in the field. The other is to use instrumental insemination, since that is already handled but it is already done in a laboratory. Basically that was what I wanted to say.
Debajo, que esta se sale por acá. Se salen por acá.
Well, they didn't find it. For me it doesn't have a queen. I need to look at the brood, if there is a brood. A moment ago a colleague from the cooperative here asked me if they were confused between one and the other. No. So each bee has a particular smell that makes it different and from a different neighborhood. What happens if one is mistaken to enter one colony to the other? So if one enters the other, if it brings food, they let it enter because in the colony there is always a checkpoint service, so to speak a defense service. Carry honey, carry pollen, they let it in, download that and they adopt it. But if it doesn't carry food and if she goes simply to plunder, so to speak, to steal, then she pays with her life for the entrance to the colony. Here in this apiary of 14 hives the production is 1 ton of honey, which in the season is done in 2 extractions. We are working, so far, with 2 breeding chambers and 1 for honey because the nectar peak has not yet been reached. After that they already have more or less filled this one. I introduce another riser with new wax like this as in this painting. New wax. Once and for all they stretch it and I don't put it on top but that I introduce here the means to mount the 4, here on. This site there are times that there is no time left for one to extract it here because not only this apiary but they are several. There are about 12 apiary. So I don't have time. So I have to come with another super and get on top. Each hive here gives at least 80 to 90 kilos of honey in the production of it. Here we are going to extract the honey. We are going to take out the paintings here in frames that have honey. Look for more than anything that already has 75% capping of honey. These pictures are already going out there for the awning. A square of honey of these, full, produces 2.5 to 3 kilos of nectar, all ready for extraction. Although, well, it is not yet her harvest. But yes, they have honey there to extract it for one. At once remove. This is the honey that is already percolated. And to her it's there. The honey is already there. It's also thick once and the other time they finish it percolating now. We do take this over there. Let's see. Here already the extraction of honey. We take off the gloves that we are using herein. The beekeeping field to put on other gloves called silicone gloves to be able to handle the frame well and handle the uncapper. Since there was no bee falls on the mosquito net, a cap is also used for surgery and a face mask. Because when he is out there sometimes talking to the colleague who is spin. Then well, here we are going to ask you the question of the uncapping of the honey. This honey was already happening. It already has crystals. It was already getting too old. In these paintings here. What happens to honey made there? No, because honey is good. What happens is that it almost doesn't come out of the frame anymore, it stays there. She has to eat 12 kilos of honey to make a kilo of wax. She uncapped the picture, then, well, we come here once and for all to the centrifuge. And we put it. This centrifuge is 4 frames, well, and the other frame is coming. Well, the one that remains here in honeycombs, well, one uses it to develop swarms. Nuclei. When one takes out the honey that is in liquid, it passes. It is in bitch honey, which is what she collects, which is the nectar. Honey made, which is when one is already harvesting in made honeys are the ones that crystallize, and for you to know a honey that it is bee honey, which is pure. It is good that they bought it crystallized. Nobody leaves it to chivier like this, crystallized honey, not with pieces of some large crystals of, as if they were glass. Not those, the crystallized honey of the bees. The grain is very fine. Now we cover it up so that my partner or I here can start extracting the honey. Yes, here. More, however, so that you can see well, the honey for the speed, the centrifuge, the VA. Bouncing to the sides. Then we take out and pass. We turn the painting around, because we already get the honey from here, on this side, we get it now, then it's our turn to get it from the other side. Well, here the paintings have been centrifuged, they go back to the box to put them in. To the hive. They come back and suck up everything there is. Clean and tidy up at once. To once again prepare again, to put the nectar. Here the screw or the extraction room that we have mobile. It must have a waterproof floor, and people who do not have their waterproof floor have to place a rubber or a metal base to place the honey on top so as not to have contact with the floor for the sole and simple reason that there, around there, animals defecate, the little birds, and it can honey contamination. Already here we place the drum, we place the strainer, and we open the key so that the honey falls straight there. The honey is already filtering, and the particles, or there they have fallen bees. They remain there, and the honey remains in the container, and then it is covered, and then it goes out for sale, or if not for packaging, directly there at the point. Beekeeping. Well, the strainer has to be in stainless steel, the centrifuge also in stainless steel, the spatula also in stainless steel, the uncapper also in stainless steel.
Estos días vengo y traigo bien esto. Bueno.
Well, here we put the pictures to the hives that the honey was removed. they return and fix it once and for all. We are going to place the excluder here. And this one is left with only 3 pictures to be sucked and licked so that this week it comes back and goes to revision and the hive is fixed once and for all. The honey arrives from the apiary to the cellar, to the packaging area and enters a tank. Decanter. That this charming tank, what it does is eliminate the impurities that already brings the honey, totally prevent the honey from lifting, so to speak, from the impurities, for example, pollen residues, propolis residues, so that the final consumer reaches a product of excellent quality, with the same conditions with which it was collected, preserving the therapeutic properties and the botanical and medicinal properties of honey. As such, in the colony or in the hive we are practically producing honey, pollen, propolis and royal jelly, apart from the fact that it also produces wax, apart from the fact that it produces apitoxin, which is benign to bees, and to byproducts. We are talking about a mead, we are talking about a propolis tint or soft extract. We must learn the beekeepers how the bees work in the best way. Do it that each one is in charge of her work but respecting the conditions of practically the atmosphere, or respecting the conditions offered by nature itself. We must show people that these little animals came to help us, and it is exactly, they are animals that give us too much for our environment and for our life and for our health, for everything, because that's where the apitherapy in comes. All the amount of products and byproducts that, it is known, are derived of the hives. Then from that point of view, we must see the colonies, the hives, as an animal that comes to contribute and not as a threat, as they have not said they are bees.